Have you ever met someone who never asked for help? The person who handles every crisis. The person everyone depends on. The person who always says, what if that strength isn't actually strength? What if it's a survival skill? A skill they were forced to learn far too early? Imagine a child sitting alone in their room, not thinking about cartoons, not wondering what game they'll play tomorrow. Instead, they're listening to their parents arguing downstairs, trying to predict what mood everyone is in, trying to keep the peace, trying to prevent the next emotional explosion before it happens. And without realizing it, that child learns something dangerous. If I stay alert, I stay safe. Years pass. The child grows up, but the survival mode never leaves. As adults, these people often become the most responsible people in the room. They're the problem solvers, the therapist friend, the reliable employee, the partner carrying the entire relationship on their shoulders. From the outside, it looks impressive, but on the inside, it's exhausting because they learned a painful lesson very early in life. My needs come last. Psychologists call this parentification. It's what happens when children are pushed into adult responsibilities long before they're emotionally ready. Sometimes they become caretakers, sometimes emotional support systems, and sometimes they become both. People praise them for being mature. People admire how responsible they are, but almost nobody notices what they lost. The chance to simply be a child. And later in life, this often turns into something called hyper-independence. These people rarely ask for help, not because they're stronger than everyone else, but because somewhere deep down, they don't trust help to arrive. Their brain learned long ago that depending on others can be risky. So they carry everything themselves. The stress, the responsibility, the emotions, the burden, until eventually, the burden becomes part of who they are. And here's where it gets even stranger. When life finally becomes peaceful, they don't always feel relaxed. No crisis, no emergency, no problem to solve. And yet, they feel anxious. Why? Because chaos feels familiar. Their nervous system spent years preparing for danger. Calmness feels unfamiliar. And sometimes, unfamiliar feels unsafe. That's why many of these people attract others who need fixing. People with endless problems. People who need rescuing. Because helping others feels natural, but helping themselves feels impossible. And the saddest part? Many of them believe their value comes from what they do for other people, not from who they are. So when they're not helping, when they're not solving problems, when they're not carrying someone else's weight, they quietly ask themselves, who am I? But healing begins the moment they realize something important. You were never supposed to carry everything. You were never meant to become the adult for everyone else. The child inside you survived difficult conditions. That's why you're here today. But survival and living are not the same thing. Real healing begins when you stop measuring your worth through responsibility, when you allow yourself to rest, when you allow yourself to receive help, when you stop earning love and start accepting it. Because the strongest people aren't the ones who carry everything alone. They're the ones who finally put the backpack down and realize they never had to carry the whole world in the first place.